Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. So in this video we are going to talk about the coding question which can be asked in the Wipro NLTH exam, and basically the questions will be very basic, but it only comes up to how you can write smart and efficient code in the stipulated time. So we are going to look at one more question which was asked and could be asked in future as well. So let's look at the question. So the question says that we need to print the Pythagorean triplet for the given numbers, and let's see what it is. So first of all we get the input as t, which is the number of test cases, and then we have been given two numbers a and b, and we have to output the numbers a, b and c which form a Pythagorean triplet. So let's look at the sample test case. So first of all we get the input 3, and then following three lines we get the inputs of a and b, like 5 and 12, 14 and 6, 8 and 6, and for that we have to output the Pythagorean triplet which is formed. For example, we have 5 12 5 12 and 13 which form a Pythagorean triplet, and how it is actually formed by performing the operation which is square root of 5 square plus 12 square, which is square root of 25 and 144, which results in 169, and 169 square rooted is 13. So our output is 5 12 and 13, and in similar manner the other outputs are also printed as well. So let's look at how we can achieve this by coding it. So this is the same question which I have written here, and for doing this obviously we do need the math module. So let's start by writing import math as m. And why I'm writing m, because it will be much easier for me to call every function in the math library which we need in this problem. So all right, so now we are given t test cases. For that what I can do is I can write a for loop directly and ask for an input as an integer directly inside of our for loop. And what we are doing basically here is that the number of test cases will be directly given as an input for our for loop. So for three test cases the loop will run three times, and inside of the loop we will be giving the values which we want to pass in to print the Pythagorean triplet. So let's write the two numbers, say a comma b, and these are the numbers which we will be receiving. So let's just get them as an input, and we are splitting them using the space. So we have two values a and b split using the space, and now we want to print the Pythagorean triplet. Now what we can do directly is that calculate the square root, and then we have to directly print the value of a, b and c. So that can be done in a single line of code. So what we can do is directly print it here. So let's start by writing print. We know that the three values a, b and c will be printed, so we write a, b, and now the value c has to be calculated obviously. So in this case what we can do is we can directly use the math library. So let's write m, which I am using to refer to my math module, and using the dot operator you can directly access the functions which you want to use. So in this case we are going to use the square root function, and inside of our square root function what we want to pass is the squared values of a and b. So how you square a value in Python, you can directly write a into a and b into b, or you can do something like this, which means that it is getting squared, or we are writing a to the power of 2. Similarly we want to write the power of b squared, so we are writing b to the power of 2, and so the sum of a square plus b square is getting passed inside of our square root function. So that is the calculation which is happening over here. Now this will not give you the correct answer, and why is it so? Let's look at the code and try to uh, provide this input given here. So let's write 3, which is the number of test cases provided, and let's go with say 5 and 12. So now you can see that the output is 13.0 and not 13. So we are partially correct but not completely correct. So what we want to do is use something called as ceil and floor values, a concept of ceil and floor values basically, uh, the values which are sealed means that the next absolute value is the value which we are demanding, and the floor value means the lowest next possible absolute value which we have. So what we want to do is we want to reduce it to the next lowest possible absolute value. So in this case what we want to do is use the floor function, and since floor function is also provided inside of the math library, so we can directly write m dot floor, and inside of our floor function we can directly pass all of this, which will print the square root and provide the output in the form desired. So this should work fine now, and let's just terminate this program and let's recompile it and try the outputs. So we write 3 and then we write 5 and 12, so which gives us 5, 12 and 13 as expected. The second input is 14 and 16, which gives us 14, 16 and 21, and the third input is 8 and 6, which gives us 8, 6 and 10. So that is the program all about. So if you want a detailed explanation about it, so let's start by writing the comments here so that I can explain you what actually we did in this program. So what we did is we imported the math module and referred to it as M, and here what we are doing is basically getting t numbers of test cases for which the loop will run t times. In the line number 26 what we are doing is getting two inputs, that is a and b, using the map function, and in this line we are doing two operations. First of all we are calculating the square root value, which is not an absolute value, and then we are trying to convert it into a floor value. Actually the word absolute will not be correct. Though it is an absolute value, what I want is it should be an integer value. So it is not an integer value initially, and for resolving this problem what we are doing is we are using the floor function defined inside of the math module to convert this into a integer of the lowest possible value, which can also be referred to as a float value, and we are simply printing it. So this program might look a very basic program, but the one thing which bogs the program, or the point where we get wrong, is how to represent our answers properly. We are 90% correct, but sometimes it happens that due to just 10% of the code our answers do not get evaluated to 100%, and that is why we fail in that case. So these are some of the things which you need to take care of, and I hope that you enjoyed this video. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe to the channel and be the part of Revox family. Also, if you have not joined our Telegram channel, all the links are in the description, where we also have started uploading quiz questions which you can directly try over there, and if you get them right, then congratulations, you do know the basics. However, if not, then we are still planning a video on those particular questions which can be helpful in your quantitative aptitudes as well. So make sure to check out the channel and the discussion groups as well related to the same channel, so you can also discuss the code which you do not understand here, and we can also discuss it over there. So that's all for this video from my side. I hope you enjoyed it. So make sure to subscribe to the channel and keep learning and keep programming.